Hello everybody, this is Rob from room 111. I bought a lot of equipment recently and I've been spending hours upon hours testing it out. So I got a Mannequin. Part of the thing was to get a Mannequin because just the countless amount of hours I've been practicing, it wouldn't be practical to call a model, even if she's a TF model and she's willing to work for free, willing to work for images. There's just too much trial and error involved, and I didn't want to get her angry with a lot of sitting around and waiting. So I just bought a Mannequin. It's three-dimensional. It's not a cardboard cutout from a movie theater. Obviously that wouldn't work. It's two-dimensional and it wouldn't give me shadows and such. So I bought a Mannequin, and I'll show you all the equipment I used in this at the end of the video. But here's the agenda I'm testing here. I'll show you the AlienBees B1600 along with the PCB 47-inch Octabox. And I'll show you a diagram. We'll go to the actual shots of the setup. We'll go into the portraits. I have quite a few portraits to show you. The first one, ambient with no strobes. Then we move to the key plus hair plus backdrop. We'll do a high key, some colored gels, and then at the very end I'll show you the equipment list of everything I used in the session. Okay, here's the diagram. This is the Mannequin here in the middle, obviously. This is the Octabox. It's 3 feet. Okay, the Octabox is 3 feet from the Mannequin. The camera is 7 feet from the Mannequin. There's 4 feet between the Mannequin and the backdrop because I wanted to make sure I had fall off, right? I wanted to make sure the light fell off somewhere between the Mannequin and the backdrop. Okay, I think one of the biggest mistakes new photographers make is they put their model too close to the backdrop. So what happens is they don't want the wall visible or the backdrop, but they're not allowing enough light fall off between the model and the backdrop. So you got to put some space in here. A safe distance is about 4 to 6 feet. If you put 4 to 6 feet between your subject and the wall, the light will fall off and the wall won't be visible. It'll go black if you do it right. So this is what I'm doing here. I have 4 feet. Okay, I'm using a Neewer YN560 with a built-in radio receiver. These lights are fantastic. I have become the biggest fan in the world of the Neewer YN560 for $75. It is a tremendous bargain. I have no vested interest in the company. They're not paying me. I'm just telling you that this is what a bargain. Okay, the snoot, I'm using the snoot as a hair light. You can see here the hair. It's being lit up by a Neewer. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a real cheap strobe I got off of Amazon. It's a 180 watt second strobe. $50 with a $10 snoot. This whole thing together is $60, and it's, again, it's a heck of a bargain. So let's cover some distances here. The snoot is 3 feet from the hair. It's about 3 feet from the backdrop. And the Neewer 560 that's hitting the backdrop, this backdrop here, okay, it's a Neewer 560 and it's about 3.5 feet. So these are all the distances I have going on here. We covered all the distances. So let's get into all the main part of the presentation here, which is the actual photographs. Again, now the first part is just photographs of the setup, and then later will come the actual portraits. Okay, so this is the first photo. This is the AlienBees B1600. Another misconception is the numbering system that AlienBees uses, the PCB company. This is the parent company, PCB. He owns the AlienBees line. It's located out of Nashville, Tennessee. But a lot of people think this is a 1600 watt second head. And it's not. It's a 640 watt second head. So the numbers are a little bit misleading. Their B800 is 320 watt seconds, and their B400 is 160 watt seconds. So they're in multiples, basically, of 160. In this shoot, I used it on the second from the lowest power. Here, I'll show you a close-up. This is the 1600. On the back here, you can see there's 6 stops. It goes from 1/32, 1/16, 1/8, a quarter, a half, and full power. Okay, as you see, 1/1, like fractionally denoted, 1/1. On speedlite, sometimes it's 1/1, but here it just says full power. It's on the second one. It's right actually in between 1/16 and an 1/8. So I'm on the second power level, and I still have 4 stops to go. So this is quite a powerful strobe. because it's, remember, it's shooting through two baffles. It's shooting through the inner baffle of this here. I'll show you. There's an inner baffle about right here, right, the inner baffle, and then there's the outer baffle. So it's going through two baffles, 3 feet, and it's striking the mannequin at f8, and I'm only on the second power setting, so that's pretty good. Okay, this is like a frontal view on camera axis here. This is the Octabox. This is the opposite axis. I'm looking right in between. There's about 18 inches here. From this lip of the Octabox to here is about 18 inches. And you can see here, this is I didn't want the hot spot right on her face, right? So I always feather. It's always a good idea to feather your lights, because you don't want to blast your subject with this intense light here from the strobe. Okay, so you always feather your light so that you're catching the most inefficient light from the edges, even whether it's an umbrella or whatever. Sometimes the only exception is probably be a beauty dish. Sometimes you can just bam, if you really want a lot of contrast and a really striking shot, you can use a beauty dish to hit your, but even then you use the blocking disc, so you're really not getting that burst of intense light. So anyways, to make a long story short, I'm just feathering the light here. Oh, and this is my cousin's vacation home in Florida. I'm in Florida, and he just bought this as a vacation home, so he let me use it as an ad hoc studio. One thing here is this is a 7-foot ceiling, so you can tell this Octabox should be much higher. Okay, so you'll see in the shadow on her nose, the shadow is really incorrectly placed because I just don't have the room. I don't have the height. I'm waiting on a studio to come available. I should hopefully occupy it pretty soon, but until then I'm just shooting with 7-foot ceiling, and it's not giving me the proper clearance to give the look that I want, but it'll do in a pinch. Okay, here's the Neewer C-180. This is that my hair light. It's a 180 watt second head, that's why it's called the 180. This feels like a toy. When you handle it, there's really almost literally no weight to this thing at all. It's so light you'd swear it's a toy, but it does a nice job. It really does a nice job. This is $50 and the snoot is 10. So both of these together for your hair light are $60, and it's for 180 watt seconds. That's not too bad. Okay, so again, this is the hair light, and not pictured here is the YN560. It goes right here in this umbrella adapter, and I actually moved this to the opposite side of this C stand. So this was moved over here, and it's here it's striking the satin is my backlight. This is the Octabox firing, just to give some perspective of how big this thing is. This thing is huge. It's a 47-inch Octabox. This is the satin before I hung it, and you can tell this is another thing. If you get the satin, you'll have to iron it. Okay, just get out and iron it in an ironing board, because all these creases, you can't use it like this. It's just unusable. So iron this nice and flat, and you're good to go. Okay, so this actually starts all the portraits now. Okay, this is ambient. I took the first shot with no strobes whatsoever. There's no strobes firing. Just out of frame here is a window. I left about 1 foot of window, maybe 18 inches of window, not blocked by the backdrop. I wanted a little bit of ambient light to come in at daylight. I didn't want to burn any lamps, tungsten lamps, incandescent lamps, because I didn't want a yellowish light anywhere in the shoot. So this is why I'm going with daylight coming through the window, and you can tell it's acting as a rim. There's right here, there's some like a hair light, and then down the mannequin's arm here, you can tell this is acting as a rim, but that's ambient light coming through the window, so no strobes. Oops, I skipped one. Okay, this is the first excuse me. This is only the key light firing here. This is the big Octabox firing, and it's f8. I metered this. I kept toying with the power until I got it at f8, because that's what I want to shoot at. It's the sweet spot to me of most lenses is at f8. 5, 6, and 8, and 11. 4 sometimes to me, but I like 8 personally. That's just my thing. I like to shoot at f8 if I'm not trying to get shallow depth of field right here, because I'm not in a park or anything like that. So I'm not trying to get like f1.8 or 2.8, anything like that. So I can if I'm not trying to get any depth of field, shallow depth of field, then I just shoot at 8. So this is here at 8 and no hair light, so there's just one strobe firing. Okay, this is the hair light turned on. See, now I'll show you the difference. No hair light on. Okay, I got it one stop underexposed from the key. So the key is at 8, and I played with the power until I got this at 5, 6. So it's one stop, you can call it dimmer or darker or less exposed, whatever terminology you want to use, but it's one stop under my key. Okay, now I have the same exposure. I turn the snoot up, the strobe that's firing through the snoot. I turn that up until I reach the same exposure. So these are balanced. This key is at f8 and my hair light is at f8. Okay, I turned it up even more till I gained another stop. So this here, that Neewer C-180, I turned it up until it hit f11. So now I'm one stop brighter than my key. Okay, and I'll show you all three side by side. So this is, see, look at the difference in the hair. This is one stop lower than my key, same as my key, and then one stop brighter than my key. So if you want to take a screen grab, go ahead and take a screen grab, because it's a lot cleaner than hitting the pause button. So I'll wait a second while you go ahead and take a screen grab if you so choose. Okay, next, this is, now I pull down, see, this is my black backdrop, and above here there's a horizontal bar, and I have some satin on there clamped, and I just pulled the satin down. It's like this, you know, this second panel of fabric. So there's no light hitting the satin right now. I mean, it's like that YN560. It's not firing. It's just spill light. This is spill just hitting the satin. Okay, here I turned the YN560 on, and I metered it here at the satin at f8. So it's the same exposure as my key. So the softbox firing over here is at f8, and then my background is at f8. This is high key. Now we're getting into the area of high key. It's one stop brighter, so my backdrop is at f11. The only thing here that I don't like is, you know, the wrinkles here. It's not really a true high key. If I wanted to, I have a 5-in-1 reflector. You know, obviously one of the surfaces is white and it's nice and flat. And I could have put this behind the mannequin and shot at f11, and it would have been a true high key. But I'll show you here when I use gels, I didn't want a perfectly flat surface, so that's why I just kept this satin here. But if I would have went with white, I would have used a 5-in-1 reflector that would have been perfectly flat, and I would have fired the second YN560, so I wouldn't be having this fall off over here. You can tell the light is starting to fall off here. So I would have fired a 560 here and a 560 here, and then I would have had proper exposure across the backdrop. So these are all three again, kind of in the I did a screen grab here of all three. So you just have the key is just spilling onto the satin. Here the YN560 is on, and it's hitting at f8, and here we're getting into the realm of high key, which is one stop brighter than your key. So there you go, f11 and f8. Okay, these are the gels. Now I started using gels, and I didn't adjust the power of the YN. I left the power as it was, and I wanted to, one of the main things I wanted to record was power loss, light loss going through the gel. So the first one was yellow, and do you remember here, this is at f11, right? I got f11, and I didn't touch the power. I just put the yellow gel on it, and I metered again, and it metered at f9. And I took quite a few to make sure it wasn't a fluke, right? So I was sure this is f9. So that's a 2/3 stop loss from 11. So the yellow gel takes your output down 2/3 of a stop. The green, I put a green gel on there, and it went to 6/3. So I lost 1 2/3 stops. But I wanted to show you here, see this here, the dimensionality. One of the things we want to do as photographers is create dimension in the photograph, right? Separation. So the hair light helps create separation, but this also, see, I'm glad I used this satin and I got these ruffles in it here, okay? Because these ruffles are creating dimension, they're creating texture. And you can tell here, see, now this is where the satin actually is flat. There's no sag, there are no ruffles in it, but it's dull. You know what I mean? This flat, I don't like this flat surface. It's not doing anything for me. And but we're getting a little fall off here too. So right here we're at 6/3, and I'm sure it's even darker over here. We're getting some fall off. Okay, the red really gobbled up the light. We went from 11 to 3/5. So we lost 3 1/3 stops just from the red gel. But it still looks good to me. I mean, this is, you know, I like this background, but again, we're flat, where the satin is flat, and we're getting a light loss. There's some fall off here. Okay, the light is falling off. I just wanted to show you how uninteresting a flat background can be, like a seamless paper. Uninteresting, and when you start getting texture, you really start bringing the photograph to life. Okay, same here with the blue. The blue gel took it from 11 to 3.5, exactly the same output as the red. I lost 3 1/3 stops by putting the blue gel on the light. So they are side by side. So 2/3 of a loss, 1 2/3 of a loss, 3 1/3, 3 1/3. If you want, I'll go ahead and give you time to get a screen grab if you want. Again, because I say when you pause, you get that pause bar that appears on the screen, and it jacks up the grab. So that's why I'll give you a second here. Okay, now I'm going to show you the same photos, but there's no text, you know, with the light loss. So these are cleaner photos. So here we go with the yellow, the green. I like the green. The green and the fuchsia go well together. I like that. The red, there's no contrast here. I don't under a different. If the mannequin, I had a different shirt on the mannequin, that would be fine. But this red and this fuchsia, there's not enough contrast, so I really don't care for this. But this blue is really working. I love this blue. This blue and this fuchsia really go well together. I'm really kind of digging that. So here they are side by side again with no text, no light loss text. I just put them all 4 next to each other. Did a screen grab. Okay, here's a tighter shot. I came in a little bit closer, and I like it. Even though it's a mannequin, it's really, I mean, the wig came with it. It says in the product description the wig is not included, but they put a wig in there, and it looks like real hair. I mean, you know, it's a little bit, again, like if this was real hair, it would need some styling and a haircut because it's too full up here in the front. But I mean, you know, it is what it is, and I'm just testing equipment. I'm not trying to enter some type of a contest. So, but here's what I was trying to show, that she has eyeliner. This mannequin comes with makeup already on. It's like eyeliner and mascara. And let's see here. Yeah, let me see if I can come in close. Come in a little bit closer so you can see the eyelashes there. And you can even see catch lights. Okay, so the mannequin is actually, you can even get catch lights in the eyes, which is pretty astounding for $53. I mean, you know, it's not bad. And this is, I changed the orientation of the camera to go horizontal instead of like, this is portrait obviously, and then I tilted the camera back on its normal axis to get a landscape grab. So I'm pretty happy with that. And this is, I just wanted to show you this too. Kind of looks like clouds. This is where oops, went too far. This is where it's flat, the material becomes flat, but it's catching a little bit of light, and it almost looks like a day shot, and with some clouds. It's kind of a nice little feature to it. Okay, so here's all the equipment that I use. This is, I use the D7100. Again, I'm a hobbyist photographer. I'm not a professional. I'm an IT guy on the outside. So I really can't see spending $3,000 on a full frame camera. And I'll tell you the truth, 2012 was probably the most pivotal year in the history of photography, and I'm being very serious, because in 2012 what happened was they had made so many advances over the years. They got to the point, the makers, where it was almost well, I shouldn't say impossible, that's too strong of a word, but it was really hard to discern an APS-C image from a full frame image. And I can remember before 2012, when I would look at an image, I could tell instantly whether it was full frame or APS-C or even smaller, a smaller image sensor. But in 2012, the camera companies they made so many advances in the APS-C sensor that it's nearly impossible to me to tell a full frame from an APS-C. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult, okay, because they've come that far. Even some of I have a Canon G15. The images that come from that Canon G15, you would swear it came from a full frame camera, and that's not even a DSLR. It's just a compact camera. It's almost like a point and shoot, but it produces awesome images. The Fujifilm series, there's a couple from Fujifilm that are compacts. They look stellar, just amazing images. So you really don't even need a full frame camera anymore. And again, if you have a family, or if you know you're on a budget, whatever, you know, you got to put the kids through school, or maybe you're younger, if you're a university student, you don't have $3,000 to drop on a camera. Again, the camera I recommend is the D3100. It takes stellar images. You can put it in fully manual. and boom, you're off to the races. For $450, you get the kit lens and the body. You don't need a full frame camera as a hobbyist. A D3100 at $450, that includes the lens, you're good to go. But here's what I shoot. I shoot the D7100 because of all the controls that are available on the external on the outside of the camera. This is the lens I was using. I was using the 70-300. I was at 70. All those images you saw, they were all taken at 70 millimeters on the zoom. And also I shoot fully manual, so everything is fully manual. This is the strobe. This is the Paul C. Buff website, the B1600. You can see here 640 watt seconds. This is the Softbox. This is the Octabox, the 47 inch. They also have a smaller one, 35 inch, but I like the 47. It gives a beautiful soft light, as you can tell from the images, and it's not bad. This is $170. A lot of these soft boxes from the big companies, they're upwards of $1,000, so you don't need to spend $1,000 on a soft box. This is 170 bucks. This is that little cheap Neewer, I believe it's pronounced, I'm not really sure. 180 watt seconds. It feels like a toy. This thing operates flawlessly. I've never had a malfunction in the two most critical modes, and let me explain here. It's never malfunctioned in slave mode when another light is firing this one. Just like now I used that AlienBees. The AlienBees triggered this one in slave mode. Or I've used the Pocket Wizard here. I used the Pocket Wizard and I plugged the cable in here. Never had a problem. It always fired. But it misfires a lot when you push the test button. So if you're trying to, like, you have a light meter and you're reaching around and you're pushing the test button, a lot of times the light won't go off. It won't fire. But again, that's not how you take pictures. You don't take photos with the test button. You take pictures in slave mode and you take pictures with the cable plugged into the sync port. And in those two, it's never malfunctioned, so I have nothing to complain about. And again, it's 50 bucks. This is the snoot, $11. It's made of plastic, but it's okay. I don't need a metal snoot. This totally does the job. And both of these combined, the strobe itself and this is 61 or 61, excuse me, it's about $61, and you just can't beat it. This is the young Neewer. I bought 3 of these, and I'll upload a video soon. I did the same setup with all 3 lights, the young Neewer 560. My key, my hair, and my backdrop light were all done with the 3 of these, the YN560s. They come with the built-in radio receiver. The radio is built into it, so you don't need a separate radio receiver to go onto the shoe. It's already built into the unit, which is, it's an incredible deal for $75. This is and it's actually rated at 58. The guide number is 58, but I did some testing just informally and I got a guide number of 70. So and that's another thing to respect about this company, because normally companies inflate the guide number to show that it's stronger than what it really is, but in my situation they actually were honorable enough to publish a guide number of 58 when I got 70 out of it. So they erred on the side of caution and went with a lower guide number than what it really delivers. Okay, this is the mode I was in. This is Slave 1. Because now this has 3 modes, S1, S2, and then the radio. Okay, if you're going to use a radio transmitter in the hot shoe of your camera. I didn't use it in this particular shoot. My AlienBees B1600 was the key, and it fired this young Neewer, so I have it in slave mode. This is the umbrella adapter, Cowboy Studio. It works flawlessly. This thing has been great. And let me explain this. This is where the hot shoe goes in here in this channel. The hot shoe goes in here and you tighten this up so it doesn't fall out. This is for the umbrella shaft. Your umbrella, there's a little metal retaining clip in here, and it's one way. It's like it's a little gate, and so the shaft comes in this side and exits out this side. So this is where your umbrella goes, and this little knob tightens your umbrella shaft down. This is for the swivel. This swivels 180 degrees. It goes 90 degrees forward, it's standing upright, and then 90 degrees backwards. So you've got 180 degrees of motion in this umbrella adapter, and this is where you tighten it. And obviously this goes on the head of your light stand. This is the gel set I used. to get all those different colors. This is 20 bucks. It was a good deal. You get 10, and let me explain. You actually get 5 colors, but you get 2 of each, and that's good if you have a large backdrop. And I have another Yongnuo. I was using two lights, the same color gel, to get greater coverage. Okay, so I didn't get fall off. That's why they give you 2. They give you 2 red, 2 green, 2 blue, 2 yellow, and then 2. It's called heavy frost. It's just a diffusing gel if you want to further diffuse your speed light so that the light is not so harsh. So you get 10 gels, 5 different gels, 2 of each kind. This is the Plus X. I had one in the hot shoe of my Nikon, and I had one on the AlienBees. And so in the AlienBees, that flash, I had everything else in slave mode. So you only really need 2 pocket wizards on the camera and on your key, and then my key fired everything else in slave mode. This is the light meter I use. This is kind of their entry-level model, but it's all I need. The more expensive ones do cinema. They have some cinema settings in there if you're shooting like movies. And they also, the upper scale ones have a reversible. It's up on a swivel, so you can tell that this is called the Lumisphere. The more expensive ones, it's 360 degrees swivel. You can turn the Lumisphere around, and it also gives you the percentage of flash versus percentage of ambient light on the more expensive models. But this one just gives you the basic 3. Okay, this setting it's showing is an ambient. If you want to get an ambient reading, this one, the middle one, is what you use for your strobes. If you're just triggering strobes without a cable, and this little subscript here, this subscript C, it means flash with the cable, if you're using a cable to fire it. But this is the one I predominantly use because it's just my pocket wizard, or the Yongnuo RF603. My radio triggers are making this go. So, and these are the big 3: your ISO, your shutter, and your aperture. That's all you need to get a correct exposure. So this is the bottom line model, and it's more than enough. This is the backdrop stand. This is the support stand. It goes up to 8.5 feet. It goes up 8.5 feet in height, and it's 9.5 feet wide. This is the crossbar. Okay, it's 9.5 feet across. They do make some light stands that go up to 10 feet. And if you're trying to shoot low, if you're going low and you're shooting upward toward a model, you're trying to get that long leg, you put a wide angle on there, and you're trying to get that long leg look, then you might want to go with something a little bit higher with a 10-foot. Because it gives you a little more room to play with if you're trying to shoot upwards toward the model. So I think my next purchase, I think I'm going to go with a 10-foot stand. I've been happy with this. It's very sturdy. There's nothing wrong with this at all. But I wish I had a little more height on this. So next time I'm going with a 10-footer. This is the actual backdrop. The black fabric is what they're selling here. What am I trying to go with this? Okay, if it's 10, they sell 10 by 10. Now if you go with 10 by 10, it's a 1-ply, right? It's one piece of fabric, but it's paper thin, and a lot of light bleeds through. Okay, it's not enough. It really doesn't make the grade. But if you go with the 10 by 20, what you do, it's 10 feet wide, but it's 20 feet high, and you double it. You take the thing and just double it so that it becomes 10 feet in length, but it becomes 2-ply. Okay, so it's a 2-ply backdrop, and that way it really does block the light. Okay, so I would highly recommend you go with the 10 by 20, double the material so that you have 2-ply, 2 pieces of fabric, and it really will block the light. This is the satin I used as my backdrop. I got it from Walmart. You can tell it's what is that? 60 inches is 5 feet, 5 by 6. Okay, so this is a 5 by 6 sheet of fabric. It's nice. It's really nice. I love the satin. And this was $8.73. So it's not bad. I mean, you're going to get your $8.73 out of this piece of fabric. This is a close-up. Just shows you that the sheen it has on it. This is my Mannequin. This is the one I use. It was $58 when I bought it about a month ago or so. It came down $5 in price. So that's pretty good. Now it's not eligible for Prime, so if you have Amazon Prime, you're not going to get free shipping because it's a big box. It's $30. It comes out of a warehouse in Jersey. This Roxy display, it came out of New Jersey, and it's $30 to ship. Okay, which is pretty reasonable considering the size of the box. So you get the whole thing for about $83 with shipping included. Okay, one thing I would highly recommend. There's a lot of complaints about the right here in this leg. It's in this leg on the back side. There's a metal stand where it goes into the mannequin's leg. Okay, and a lot of people are complaining this breaks too easily, and it does get really sticky. And here's how you solve that. I'm letting you know now. What you do is you take some Vaseline and you put Vaseline on this metal rod, okay, and it acts as a lubricant. So when you put the mannequin on this metal rod, you can take, if you want to change the clothes on the mannequin, you got to pull the mannequin off that rod. It's a lot easier to take on and off if that metal rod is lubricated, okay? Because when it's dry, what you do is, a lot of people are snapping this off. They're snapping off that metal rod from the glass plate. You can't see it here, but there's a glass base. So lubricate that arm, and then the mannequin will come on and off very easily, so that you can change the clothes of the mannequin. And that's one tip for that. The wig, again, it says wig is not included here somewhere. Okay, you know, this one does say, okay, yeah, we will include a stock wig for you randomly. Mine came with, you saw it was a brown hair. This one looks more like a reddish type hair. But, you know, it is what it is. It's decent material. It looks like real hair, and that's all I care about. So I got my value out of that. These are the clamps that keep the material fastened to the crossbar, that top crossbar. You use these to clamp the material to the bar. Okay, this is the outfit I chose for her. I'll just walk you through this real quick. Everything here is from Walmart. I'm just a Walmart kind of guy. I don't get into the politics. You know, I know there's a lot of politics involved in Walmart, and I don't want to get caught up in that. I just, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. This necklace is $6. It's just costume jewelry. This fuchsia spaghetti strap top, it's like a spandexy material, like a workout material. I think it looks great. This was $5.88. The leggings, they almost look like a harlequin, but they're not. Harlequin's a different pattern. These are kind of just plain old referee stripes. These were $9.99 or something like that, less than $10, but it's a stretchy material. And this bangle, I use the bangle on, even when I shoot real models, I always use a bangle because they bring any outfit right to life. Okay, and I've got quite a few of them. But if you want to put some pizzazz into an outfit, I highly recommend the bangle. So this bangle was less than $10. Okay, so everything here is all very affordable, and it makes for a nice shoot. And I'm back to the beginning again. Okay, so this is where we started the presentation. So I hope you found this helpful. You know, mainly again, this was about gels and the AlienBees B1600, the Paul C. Buff 47-inch Octabox, the Neewer C-180 Strobe, and the snoot that goes along with it, and the YN560 with the built-in radio receiver. Okay, so we covered the equipment, we covered the use of gels, we covered some backdrops, the black material and the satin. So this was kind of all-encompassing. We killed a lot of birds with one stone here in this one presentation. I'll be uploading another one soon. Again, it's the one where I used 3 Neewer 560s for the whole shoot. I shot through a $10 umbrella. It's a little Cowboy Studio 33-inch white satin umbrella. And I was real happy with that. It produced some pretty good images just from a $10 umbrella and $375 speedlights, and it looked really good. I mean, to me, it looked good. And I also tried another whole set bare strobe, and it didn't look too good at all. It came out like a beauty dish, but it's not as good as a beauty dish, because a beauty dish is, you know, 22 inches or so, and it's hard. The light is harsh, but it's a controlled harshness, and it's actually, you know, quite nice. But the bare strobe, I'll put it up here on YouTube later, but I'm just letting you know now that the bare strobe is it left a lot to be desired. I much preferred the shooting through the umbrella. Okay, again, I hope this was useful to you. I hope you learned something from it. I would appreciate a like if you would be so kind just to go ahead and click the like button. I would really appreciate it. And I hope to upload some of those other videos here in the very near future. Thank you.